Today, I'm here to talk about something rather serious. It just dawned on me earlier on that sometimes in life, things don't pan out the way you hoped they would. Be it Season 7 of The Walking Dead, Mass Effect Andromeda, the Star Wars prequels. What else is there? The DC Cinematic Universe. That one doesn't need kryptonite. It's already dead. But this leads me nicely on to games. Games, our bread and butter, our 9 to 5. Games, some games got stuck in what we call development hell. They took an absolute age to come out.
That's right, Sean. In fact, one game on this list was in development for 147 years. Well, maybe it wasn't 147 years, but it bloody felt like it.
However, a little bit of production strife doesn't have to be a bad thing, and in some cases, games like a phoenix from the ashes have risen up and end up being pretty damn good, like your Final Fantasy 15s and The Last Guardian. Me personally, not a fan. It's a bit like a PlayStation 1 game, but people seem to really dig it last year, so different folks, different strokes and all that. But what this feature looks at, or it's going to look at, is 7 games that went through the days, the weeks, the months, the years of development hell, only to end up being rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Games such as, not to give too many away because they are forthcoming, LA Noire, for example.
Whoa. Hang on a minute, Sean. What are you doing?
What are you doing? I'm doing my list. What's your problem?
What's your problem?
I ain't got a problem. I'm happy I'm doing my list.
Yeah, but why did you just say LA Noire was not very good?
It's not very good.
LA Noire was alright, it was decent.
Oh, I'm LA Noire. Am I a third-person shooter? Am I Grand Theft Auto? Am I Grim Fandango? No.
It was revolutionary. They were trying to motion capture faces. It looked okay.
I can't believe you're doing this. It's on my list. It's on my list. We talked to this. It's on my list.
It's not my list, pal.
It's our list.
Right, that's it. I went back for this shit. I'm out there.
Where are you going?
Well, I'm just coming over here. I don't think I want to do anymore.
Right, you got to do the old sign off bit. Oh.
No, fuck off.
Jason Lover with his Sunday best doing the sign off.
Yeah, you and your Sunday best.
Also, we're doing the fashion police thing, are we now?
That's right.
You're doing the I'll do a sign off. If you're doing this, I'll be mad about it. I'll step up.
Yeah,
I'll do it. All right. Right. Before I was so rudely interrupted there, we are looking at 7 games that went through the ringer, only to end up being, like mine and Jason's relationship, awful. Absolutely awful. Enjoy. You're out of order then, mate.
What are you on about?
Oh, bang out of order.
Yeah, well, you
Stomping
were
in.
talking about saying that LA Noire wasn't a good game.
It's not a good game. I could do this all day, but I don't think we should. It's not a good game.
It was good.
There's nothing you can say that's going to convince me that LA Noire is good.
That's right, sure.
And there's nothing that I can do or convey to anyone. I believe it's a good game. So, how'd you like me now?
You're right, Sean. There is nothing I can say.
Alright. You're right. Let's edit this thing. I feel good about it. Aptly, Prey kind of crept onto the Xbox 360 back in 2006 to a universal sigh of meh. But, like a shunned early noughties postal service loving teen, the game had some serious angst to it. Developers 3D Realms, you hear more on those rascals later, started work on the project way back in 1995. From here there were delays, turmoil and eventual cancellation in March 2000. This was short-lived though, as the project was soon resurrected and dragged to completion by its publisher 2K Games. Overall, Prey was impressive in scope and graphic quality, and it showed great diversity with a Cherokee protagonist in play, but it was all a bit run-of-the-mill. Roll on the sequel later this year though. Sailing onto the list next is Galleon. Devised by key Tomb Raider designer Toby Gard, the game is intended to be a swashbuckling adventure sim with a cartoony look about it. But alas, due to multiple production issues, delays and indecision on what console to port it onto, the game was stuck in the Kraken's gut from 1997 to 2004, where it was eventually met with polite applause. Despite there being some genuinely groundbreaking elements to this game, namely a cool treasure hunting system and boss battles that echoed Shadow of the Colossus, silly pressure-based controls, and an annoying protagonist named Rama, meant that this was probably better off sinking without a trace. Sorry, Galleon.
This first-person shooter has the dubious honour of a development period that stumbled across 3 consoles, the GameCube, Xbox and eventually Xbox 360, all in the space of 5 years. That may sound short compared to some of the other games on this list, but try poo-pooing this one to the staffers over at Rare, who along with having to create a game against an industry backdrop that was changing dramatically since the first Perfect Dark was released, was also up against a punishing time constraint to get the thing released as a launch title for the 360. Perfect Dark Zero was released in 2005, and players dug the cool guns and co-op, but simply felt this was not worth the wait. Too Human is a game developed by Silicon Knights and is most noted for having remained in development hell for almost 10 years. It was originally planned for release on the Sony PlayStation in 1999. Development later went on to the Nintendo GameCube in 2000 before eventually Silicon Knights sold the rights to Microsoft in 2005. In May 2005, Silicon Knights and Epic Games announced that Silicon Knights would be exclusively using Epic's Unreal Engine 3 for all their next-gen projects. Unfortunately, this relationship was to be short-lived, as in July 2007 Silicon Knights sued Epic Games due to breach of contract, criticising Epic's support service concerning Unreal Engine 3. But in August 2007, Epic Games countersued Silicon Knights, claiming that the developers were using the engine without paying royalties, and on May 2012, Epic Games prevailed in the lawsuit and was awarded $4.5 million in damages. Silicon Knights has been forced to recall and destroy all unsold copies of their Unreal Engine games, and in January 2013 Silicon Knights served a recall notice to Microsoft to remove Too Human from the Xbox marketplace. And to top it all off, the game got mixed reviews at best. Talk about a waste of a decade.
LA Noire was a joint venture between Team Bondi and Rockstar Games. Production started in 2004 and $50 million later, the game wasn't released until 2011. While some critics praise the motion capture technology in LA Noire, the majority of us thought that the characters within the game looked like strange moving mannequins, wandering through cases that didn't actually make much sense and had redundant elements to them. You essentially felt like you were a character in a pretty bad movie. So while the bods...
Look, Sean, that's enough. I've had enough. We talked about this.
You've lost your head.
We've talked about this. We talked about LA Noire. It's a good game, and I come in and you're fucking criticising it again.
I'm doing the voiceover.
Yeah, do you know what? No, you're not doing it anymore.
You lost your head.
Tell you what.
You lost your head.
I think it's time for you to go home.
Oh, I'll go home, pal.
Go on.
You lost your head, pal.
Yeah. See you next time. Anyway, now, despite what Sean would like you to believe, LA Noire was actually a pretty good game. Yes, the facial animations were slightly awkward at times, but the photorealism was absolutely breathtaking, and the game perfectly captured the cinematic feel of such films as The Untouchables and LA Confidential, and it was an absolute blast playing as a detective from the 1940s/1950s as you made your way through traffic, homicide, vice and arson. And unlike some of the games on this list, the reviews were actually quite favourable when the game was released. People actually enjoyed playing it, Sean. Get over it. But if there's one thing we can agree on, Cole Phelps was an absolute douchebag of a character. And if there's one thing that let it down, that was probably it. Because let's face it, he was no Russell Crowe from LA Confidential. In 2006, Sega announced that they had purchased the rights to make a new game based on the Alien franchise, and that Gearbox Software would be the team to develop the IP. The game was delayed 3 times, spending a total of 7 years in development before being released in February 2013. Following the release, an anonymous whistleblower reported to various media outlets that Gearbox had been taking people and resources off the game and instead putting them to work on Borderlands, and yet was still collecting full payments from Sega as if they were actually working on the Alien game. The game was absolutely brutalised by reviewers and is generally considered to be one of the worst video games of all time. Most of the complaints included bugs, bad AI, unbalanced gameplay and really low quality graphics. But despite all this, the game actually sold quite well on release and actually was number 1 in the video game charts when it debuted. So for all those people out there that bought the game, I hope you got some use out of that frisbee, because that's what it's fucking good for.
You'd expect a cat like Duke to come swaggering onto consoles without any problems at all. He is, after all, a flat-topped, red-blooded loin of a gaming icon. But that wasn't the case with this stuttering title. First announced in those halcyon days of 1997, the game went through a raft of issues, from developer 3D Realms getting a bit skint, to distributor Take-Two getting the hump. While along the way, we were just getting teased with screenshots and teaser trailers, all the way up to the game's release in 2011. It was a confusing time. Alas, gamers had moved on though, and Duke's shenanigans weren't up to scratch. Couple this with some clunky controls and loading times that mirrored the game's production duration, Duke Nukem Forever was unsurprisingly a big, fat, shat down the neck of a disappointment. Don't come get some.